I was sweating through my shirt, tongue dry as the Sahara, and all I could think about was the pint of double fudge swirl waiting for me in the garage freezer. After mowing the lawn in 97-degree heat, I all but sprinted to the freezer like it was a life raft in a sea of misery, only to find the container there, empty. Again. Just like last week. And the week before that. 4 pints of ice cream in 2 months, all mysteriously disappearing from a locked garage freezer. Not stolen from the kitchen. Not eaten by me. No trace. Just gone. If you've ever stared into an empty ice cream container you know you didn't eat, while slowly realizing someone is repeatedly breaking into your property for just dessert, you'll understand the kind of psychological unraveling I was facing. At first, I thought I was just being forgetful. Maybe I ate it during a midnight snack and didn't remember. Maybe my cousin who visited last month had a sugar relapse and was sneaking scoop. But after the 4th time, the evidence pointed in one clear direction. Someone was sneaking into my garage to eat my ice cream, and nothing else. Pizza? Untouched. Frozen peas? Still there. But the ice cream? Gone like clockwork. And every time I checked the security camera feed from my Ring cam, there'd be a weird glitch, like a blackout, right around the time I guessed the freezer had been raided. It was maddening. Digital poltergeist stealing snacks? I wasn't crazy. At least I hoped not. I vented about it to Lana, my best friend and local sushi bar owner. She thought I was losing it too, until she came over to binge bad reality TV, and we went for some ice cream only to find another empty pint, complete with a perfectly peeled-off safety seal. "This is precision work," she said. "You've got a dessert bandit on your hands." She laughed. I didn't. That night I couldn't sleep. I laid in bed picturing someone, some bold, frosty-fingered monster, tiptoeing into my garage with a spoon and no shame. At 2 a.m., I got up and paced the living room. That's when the theory hit me like a snowball to the face. Karen. HOA Karen. President of the Homeowners Association. Queen of Condescension. Emperor of Fines. She had a master key. She had the gall. And she had the history. This woman once fined my neighbor's 6-year-old daughter $50 for drawing chalk butterflies on the sidewalk. The only thing Karen loved more than bylaws was pretending she wasn't violating any herself. But accusing her without proof was risky. Karen didn't play fair. She played legal. The kind of legal that comes in laminated pamphlets and threatens lien notices if your trash bin is out 15 minutes too early. So I came up with a plan: bait her. Trap her. Get proof so good even she couldn't squirm out of it. The next morning, I made a casual Home Depot run. Along with mulch and zip ties, I picked up a battery-powered motion camera small enough to fit in a cereal box. At home, I hollowed out an old popsicle box, nestled the cam inside, and carefully placed it in the back of the garage freezer behind some fake, diet-friendly ice cream no one in their right mind would touch. For bait, I chose a luxurious pint of triple-chunk sea salt caramel swirl. The kind that comes in gold-labeled packaging and makes you feel like royalty just for opening it. Then I waited. That entire week I left the garage door slightly cracked during the day, a tactic Karen herself had once cited me for. This time, I wanted her to think I was being careless again, making it easy for her to stroll in for her icy heist. Meanwhile, I checked the hidden camera feed obsessively. Day 1, nothing. Day 2. False alarm, just a raccoon sniffing around. Day 3, jackpot. At 2:46 p.m. on a Wednesday, she appeared. HOA Karen, in full safari mode outfit. Visor, fanny pack, clipboard tucked under her arm like she was checking sprinkler compliance. She looked both ways, stepped into my garage like she owned the place, and beelined to the freezer. She opened it, glanced around like a squirrel in a jewelry store, pulled out the pint, gave it a sniff, and walked away licking the spoon she brought with her. She even had the nerve to put the empty container back in the trash bin inside my garage. I sat in my living room with the footage paused on her ice cream-covered grin like it was the Zapruder film. I'd caught her, red-handed, spoon in mouth, and the wildest part? She looked proud of herself. Not desperate. Not sneaky. Just smug. Like she was entitled to it. Fueled by a mix of rage and disbelief, I marched over to her house that evening and knocked. She opened the door with that Karen smile. The kind that said she already hated the fact that you existed within her property radius. I didn't beat around the bush. I told her I knew about the ice cream, I had it on camera, and I wanted an apology and a promise she'd stay the hell out of my garage. She blinked, laughed, then flipped open her HOA clipboard like it was a magic wand. Per HOA Guidelines, Section 14B, she said, any unsecured garage may be inspected for pest control violations. Consider this a community courtesy. And if you're storing personal food improperly, that's a code breach. I could fine you for that. I was stunned. You ate my ice cream. I taste-tested a suspicious item for safety, she said without missing a beat. It could have been expired. I was protecting the neighborhood. I walked away before I launched myself over her hydrangeas. I knew then, there would be no reasoning with her. She thought she was untouchable. Above the law. She wasn't stealing my food, she was asserting dominance. That's when the idea hit me. A twisted, brilliant, sinus-clearing idea. If Karen wanted ice cream so badly, I'd give her all she could handle. I would weaponize dessert. She wanted to steal cold? I'd serve her fire, green, screaming fire, frozen in a pint of perfectly sweet, utterly misleading vengeance. And so began Operation Wasabi Cream. Lana nearly choked on her miso soup when I told her the plan. You want to fill ice cream with wasabi? Like real wasabi? The kind that makes grown men cry in my restaurant. I nodded slowly, a man possessed. Not just cry, I said. I want her to rethink every life decision that led her to that spoon. I showed her the spy cam footage again, this time with dramatic music layered in, just to drive home the criminal absurdity. Karen, HOA president and self-declared food inspector, had finally picked the wrong frozen treat. And now it was time for me to turn dessert into a weapon of poetic justice. Lana didn't just agree to help, she went full mad scientist. Within 24 hours, she had cleared out her kitchen's backroom and set up a wasabi lab that looked like it belonged to a Bond villain. We ordered pints of premium vanilla and mint chip, carefully melted them down, and mixed in precise amounts of restaurant-grade wasabi. The first batch wasn't strong enough. Karen had a palate forged in HOA committee meetings and passive-aggressive rage. She needed a dose that hit like betrayal. By the third trial, we created a blend that made Lana cry just from the fumes. I dipped a tiny spoon in for a test. Half a second later, my entire skull lit up like a Christmas tree, and I sneezed so hard I scared a stray cat off the back porch. Perfect. We carefully refroze the mixture in pristine, untouched containers, exact replicas of the ones she'd stolen before. To avoid suspicion, we kept them in the same freezer spot, behind the fake healthy ice cream no one dared touch. Everything had to look natural. Any sign of tampering and she'd smell a trap. Karen wasn't smart, but she was annoyingly cunning, like a raccoon with a gavel. Just to be safe, I made a few signs that read, "Not for consumption, contains spice," and tucked them under the lids. It wasn't for her. It was for the cops in case she tried anything stupid after the fact. I even filmed myself preparing the containers, documenting every step, every label. There would be no lawsuits in my future. Just karma, frozen and served cold. That weekend, I left the garage door slightly open again. It had become the bait signal, the little flag that told Karen the coast was clear and the dairy was plentiful. I sat inside, pretending to clean out the junk drawer, but really just watching the motion detector app on my phone like a hawk. At 1:14 p.m., I got the ping. Freezer opened. 30 seconds later, I saw her on the ring cam, walking away like she just bagged a clearance coach purse at a flea market. She wasn't even hiding it anymore. She strutted. And then I waited. It didn't take long. 12 minutes later, I heard a scream. Not a normal scream. Not even a spider in the bathroom scream. This was the primal howl of a woman betrayed by her own gluttony. I ran to the window and peeked out just in time to see Karen stumbling around her yard, red in the face, ice cream smeared across her lips like war paint. She had the garden hose turned on full blast and was chugging it straight into her mouth. Her Crocs squeaked violently against the patio tiles as she slipped and collapsed onto her begonias. It was beautiful. A few neighbors came out to check the noise. Karen, mid-panic, tried to talk but could only emit a noise like a kettle trying to speak in tongues. One lady asked if she was having an allergic reaction. Karen waved her arms like she was being attacked by bees, then stumbled inside, leaving a trail of damp grass clippings and mint-flavored shame behind her. I barely had time to celebrate when the cops showed up. 2 cruisers. Lights on. I opened the door calmly, holding a cup of coffee like I hadn't just committed a refrigerated war crime. Officer Jenkins was in the lead. I knew him well. He once got called to my house because Karen accused me of displaying offensive wind chimes. He gave me a nod like he already suspected this was about her. Karen came stomping up behind the cops like a furious toddler with a legal dictionary. She pointed a shaking finger at me. He poisoned me. That monster-filled ice cream with wasabi. I could have died. Officer Jenkins raised an eyebrow and looked at me. I sipped my coffee. I have camera footage, I said. She trespassed into my garage, stole my ice cream, again, and got exactly what she deserved. And just to be safe, the container was clearly labeled. I'll show you the footage, the labels, even the prep video. Everything's documented. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish. She hadn't expected that. She thought I'd panic. She thought I'd grovel. Instead, I was calmly offering evidence like I was the host of a true crime documentary. Officer Jenkins followed me inside, and I showed him everything. The hidden cam footage of Karen's theft. The warning label inside the lid. The prep video with timestamp. Lana had even signed off on the batch in a mock culinary sabotage document she made just for fun. After reviewing it all, Officer Jenkins stepped outside and spoke to his partner. Karen stood there, arms folded, breathing like a dragon who just learned about lactose intolerance. Finally, Jenkins returned and said, "Ma'am, you entered his garage without permission." He labeled the item. "This is a civil issue, not criminal." Karen exploded. "I'm the HOA president. I have access rights." "No, you don't," he said flatly. "Emergency inspections are limited to visible outdoor violations. Entering someone's garage for a snack doesn't qualify." Karen turned so red I thought she might finally ignite from residual wasabi fumes. She screamed something about lawsuits and neighborhood bylaws and then stormed back to her house, still hiccuping fire. That night, I celebrated with Lana on my back porch. We watched the security footage on loop, laughing until our sides hurt. Karen, the neighborhood tyrant, taken down by spicy revenge and a spoonful of hubris. For once, the ice cream was safe. But something about the way Karen looked as she retreated, fuming, muttering, plotting, told me this wasn't over. People like her don't quit. They regroup. They scheme. And she had an entire HOA rulebook to hide behind. Lana leaned back in her chair and raised her glass. "To Operation Wasabi Cream." I clinked mine.